Alright gamers, welcome back. World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore Ironman Adventures, episode 154, episode 4 on the Dwarf Paladin. Just got back from the gym, probably about an hour ago by now, honestly. Took a shower, made some food, made my, my protein shake, I'll be honest, this thing is good. I really like it. It's just like protein powder, like a mass gainer, some peanut butter, and milk. It's really like, that's about it, but it is really good. So yeah, it's about 11:50 at night. I don't have anything to do tomorrow morning, so I'm up a little later playing. I do have some stuff to do later in the afternoon. So yeah, I figured we'd get, a session in real quick. Last we left off, we'd pretty much finished Keranos. We need to go back to Brunel Village, talk to Marleth, bring her this barrel of thunder ale, as well as, I don't know if I'm high enough level to really try and take on the stolen stash. There might be something that we could do to like get around it, because I'm pretty sure I need to sneak past a higher level elite that would clap our cheeks up. I might be able to get past it though. We still have some of the buffs left from last session. Put a might on ourselves. I love when they parry us. Oh yeah, a lot of copper here. So this is underground, but these two are right here. This one's probably, yeah, up near the village. I'd have to go all the way up to get that one, I think. And this one looks like it might just be back here. There it is. Mining at 56 already, that's nice. It's gonna be a 4-piece, I'm calling it. I love when it's a 4-piece. See, I was watching back our rogue footage. I think at one point we did have our character well, I guess this is just like our character screen right here, but for some of it I had it tucked over here as well. So for this character and other characters moving forward, I'll just keep it here so we can all kind of get an eye on how things are going. Now I think this is the cave. Yeah, Old Iceberg. 666 health. He is a demon. I don't really want to fight him, honestly. I just kind of want to get this copper and get out of here. I think there's a quest to try and take him on, but I'm not doing that. Hell no. 666 health as a paladin where I can't throw kite him. He's going to destroy me, honestly. Maybe at 15 if I had some good gear, but even then, like, I wouldn't be able to keep up. Maybe if I had a sword and shield, I could block enough to where, like, I could manipulate the mana and stuff like that, but...
I had a month's worth of dried meat salted and locked away for the cold season. Kept it locked so the bears wouldn't get it. But while I was off hunting deer, that beast, Old Icebeard, made off with the meat locker. He won't be able to smash through that thorium, though. But I'll starve if I can't get my meats back. You seem a bit more stealthy than me. Perhaps you can retrieve my stash. I'll never make it in and out of that cave fast enough with this bum leg of mine.
I wonder if I can bubble and sneak past him. I'll give it a try, but I'm also in danger of, if not, then I don't have my bubble, right? So my thought process is maybe I could hodge him Let me eat one of these beer-basted boar ribs. Get a little bit of extra stamina. I'm just going to try and run in, hodge him, loot the chest, and then run out and use bubble to get away. I am pretty nervous, though. It's going to take too long. Oh! It was actually pretty damn close. All I have to do is make it to around this stump, and then I break the aggro. Let's wait for Hodge again, because I might need it to get out of here. I'm going to try and bubble and open it up this time, and then just run Hodge and run away. Now let's not forget, before I leave Keranos for good, I need to read that book. It's a 16-page book. We'll go in with 5 seconds. You can't. No! I have one last idea, but I would need bubble again, I think. Maybe I can pull him all the way out here, stun him, and then get back. No, that's not going to work. I don't think I can do it without killing him. I'd need to kill him. And I don't know if I can. Maybe if he comes outside of the cave? Does he ever fully leave the cave? Yo, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're telling me there's a chance? Oh, baby. Nice. Okay. So he actually does leave the cave. You can just do it that way. That's probably why it's not an elite quest. Were you able to get into my meat locker, Bale?
What a kind soul you are, adventurer. Thanks to your bravery, I won't find myself starving when the cold season flurries blow in.
Nice. 900 rep. Or sorry, 900 experience, 100 rep. Some new bracers. We'll drop back down here, get this copper, go talk to Marlith. I'll check the frozen lake too, because usually there's a couple copper nodes there, as well as last time, like we saw, there was a battered chest.
Hi.
Did you make the switch?
Not bad, adventurer. Did you have a hard time getting past their guard? No matter. Many thanks. And if you're ever in need of stout with a kick, don't forget the barley brews.
Thanks, gang.
What's on your mind? You good?
I don't really have the money to be wasting it on a strong fishing pole, so we'll get that in the future, but maybe Timber's back up. We took him on earlier this afternoon, but usually a lot of these rares have like an 8 to 12 to 24 hour respawn. Yeah, I don't think he's up. But there is some copper in the lake. Let's check for treasure too. Nah, it doesn't seem like it. This would be ice cold to jump in, dude. Holy. Another thing that we need to remember that is going to be a lot different than our undead rogue is we don't have extended time on our underwater breathing, right? On our rogue, we were able to stay underwater for a very long time. But on this dwarf, I'm going to have to remember that it's much different. You know, we have to come up for air a lot more frequently. Or else I could just, you know, get ourselves killed by drowning. I'm gonna miss not using a big two-handed mace. Visually, they just look so cool. Alright, back to Keranos real quick. Let's read that book. What is he standing on? Soul fragment? What is that? Oh, that's... I forgot. Someone died there. That's what that is. We saw those a couple times on my undead rogue, and I was like, what is that? It's basically just someone's soul. Now bear with me, this book is 16 pages long. It's going to be a little bit of a read. Probably, you know, 5-7 minutes, somewhere in that range. But then we're going to head into Ironforge. Turn in that report. I've got the sheath bug. I have an auto sheath macro. Let me check my training for level 10 as well.
The light be with you, adventurer. How can I help you?
Nice. So we get one of the most powerful spells that paladins have, Lay on Hands. It's a 40-yard range, so you can use this on yourself or someone else. It uses 100% of your mana, so you don't have to have a full mana bar, but from what I understand, any bit of your mana that is left, you'll just use it. It's got a 1 hour long cooldown, one of the longest cooldowns of any ability in the game. Heals a friendly target for the amount equal to the paladin's maximum health. Drains all of the paladin's remaining mana when used. So you use this on yourself. Let's say I have 700 health and I go all the way down to 50. I use this, I jump right back up to 700, right? So I could use this on someone else and heal them for 700 as well, right? It's just a very strong ability. Have to get this one. Rank 2 on Seal of Righteousness. Fills the paladin with Holy Spirit for 30 seconds, granting each melee attack an additional 2 to 8 holy damage. Unleashing the seal deals 25 to 27. Our current one is 2 to 8. Unleashing the seal deals 25. So really all we get is an extra 2 damage on unleashing the seal. I think I'm just going to keep rank 1 Seal of Righteousness right now. Blessing of Protection. This is another bubble, a version of bubble that we get. 25 mana, instant cast, 5-minute cooldown. A targeted party member is protected from all physical attacks for 6 seconds, but during that time they cannot attack or use physical abilities. Players may only have 1 blessing on them per paladin at any one time. Once protected, they can't be made invulnerable by Divine Shield, Divine Protection, or Blessing of Protection for 1 minute. So basically, Divine Protection is for myself. Blessing of Protection is for someone else or myself. I can use, you know, both. And then Devotion Aura is, we go from 55 armor to 160. That's actually a nice pickup. I'm actually going to hold off on all of these for right now. And the reason being is I'm trying to save my money for sword training. And realistically,
The light be with you, adventurer. How can I help you?
if I picked any up, I would pick up Blessing of Protection and Devotion Aura. I want Devotion Aura over Blessing of Protection. My thought process is I'm playing solo. I'm not doing any group runs or anything like that. I might want to help someone on the road, sure, save their life. But for the most part, I already have my bubble, right? It's a 5-minute cooldown. It costs less mana than this one. And for the most part, 5 minutes kind of goes by pretty quickly, and well, I'd have it back up pretty quickly. Now, the debuff that you get only lasts 1 minute, so then once I get this, that means I could have technically 2 bubbles. I just need to wait a minute. I can't use them back to back, right? But I think for right now, I'm just going to hold off, keep my money. Let's read this book, The Alliance of Lordaeron. Lord Lothar rallied the remnants of Azeroth's armies after their defeat at Stormwind Keep, and then launched a massive exodus across the sea to the northern kingdom of Lordaeron, convinced that the Horde would overcome all of humanity if left unchecked. The leaders of the 7 human nations met and agreed to unite in what would become known as the Alliance of Lordaeron. For the first time in nearly 3,000 years, the disparate nations of Erethdor were once again united under a common banner. Appointed as supreme commander of the Alliance forces, Lord Lothar prepared his armies for the coming of the Horde. Aided by his lieutenants Uther the Lightbringer, Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, and Turelion, Lothar was able to convince Lordaeron's demi-human races of the impending threat as well. The Alliance succeeded in gaining the support of the Stoic Dwarves of Ironforge and the small number of High Elves of Quel'Thalas, which later become the Blood Elves. The Elves, led at that time by Anasterian Sunstrider, were largely uninterested in the coming conflict. However, they were duty-bound to aid Lothar, it's hard to read this text, because he was the last descendant of the Arathi bloodline, which had aided the elves in ages past. And I think that Arathi bloodline is actually when they helped the High Elves defeat the Trolls. I remember reading a book on our rogue about that, and how they basically swore allegiance to them. The Horde, now led by Warchief Doomhammer, brought in ogres from its homeworld of Draenor and conscripted the disenfranchised Amani forest trolls into its fold, setting out on a massive campaign to overrun the dwarf kingdom of Cosmodan and the southern reaches of Lordaeron. The Hordes effortlessly decimated all opposition. The epic battles of the Second War ranged from large-scale naval skirmishes to massive aerial dogfights. Somehow the Horde had unearthed a powerful artifact known as the Demon Soul and used it to enslave the ancient dragon queen Alexstrasza, threatening to destroy her precious eggs. The Horde forced Alexstrasza to send her grown children to war. The noble red dragons were forced to fight for the Horde, and fight they did. I actually didn't know this. This is painting the Horde in a much darker light. I know that both sides, it's very much like the viewpoint of each side, and it's kind of like a morally gray thing of for the Horde, they were doing the right thing. For the Alliance, they're doing the right thing, right? But when you read it this way, I'm like, wait a second, the Horde are kind of bad guys. They found the Demon Soul and used it to enslave Alexstrasza. That's crazy. The war raged across the continents of Cosmodan, Lordaeron, and Azeroth itself. As part of its northern campaign, the Horde succeeded in burning down the borderlands of Quel'Thalas, thereby ensuring the Elves' final commitment to the Alliance's cause. The greater cities and townships of Lordaeron were razed and devastated by the conflict. Despite the absence of reinforcements and overwhelming odds, Lothar and his allies succeeded in holding their enemies at bay. However, during the final days of the Second War, as the Horde's victory over the Alliance seemed almost assured, a terrible feud erupted between the two most powerful orcs on Azeroth. We know this. as Doomhammer prepared his final assault against the capital city of Lordaeron, an assault that would have crushed the last remnants of the Alliance, Gul'dan and his followers abandoned their post and set out to sea. The bewildered Doomhammer, having lost nearly half of his standing forces to Gul'dan's treachery, was forced to pull back and forsake his greatest chance at victory over the Alliance. So it was Gul'dan's fault. The power-hungry Gul'dan, obsessed with obtaining godhood itself, set out on a desperate search for the undersea tomb of Sargeras that he believed held the secrets of ultimate power. Having already doomed his fellow orcs to becoming the slaves of the Burning Legion, Gul'dan thought nothing of his supposed duty to Doomhammer. Backed by the Storm Reaver and the Twilight's Hammer's clans, Gul'dan succeeded in raising the tomb of Sargeras from the sea floor. However, when he opened the ancient flooded vault, he found only crazed demons awaited him. Seeking to punish the wayward orcs for their costly betrayal, Doomhammer sent his forces to kill Gul'dan and bring the renegades back into the fold. For his recklessness, Gul'dan was torn apart by the maddening demons he had set loose. With their leader dead, the renegade clans quickly fell before Doomhammer's enraged legions. Though the rebellion had been quelled, the Horde was unable to recoup the terrible losses it had suffered. Gul'dan's betrayal had afforded the Alliance not only hope, but also time to regroup and retaliate. Lord Lothar, seeing that the Horde was fractured from within, gathered the last of his forces and pushed Doomhammer south, back into the shattered heartland of Stormwind. There, the Alliance forces trapped the retreating Horde within the volcanic fortress of Blackrock Spire. Though Lord Lothar fell in battle at the spire's base, his lieutenant, Turalian, rallied the Alliance forces at the 11th hour and drove the Horde back into the abysmal Swamp of Sorrows. Turalian's forces succeeded in destroying the Dark Portal, the mystical gateway that connected the orcs to their home world of Draenor. Cut off from its reinforcements and fractured by infighting, the Horde finally buckled in upon itself and fell before the might of the Alliance. The scattered orc clans were quickly rounded up and placed within guarded internment camps. Though it seemed that the Horde had been defeated for good, some remained highly skeptical that peace would last. Khadgar, now an archmage of some renown, convinced the Alliance High Command to build the fortress of Nethergard that would watch over the ruins of the Dark Portal and ensure that there would be no further invasions from Draenor. This is all really, really, really cool world building. It sets up a lot of things that I didn't know. It makes sense why Nethergard is there. But it's cool to hear things like that, right? Engi and Neth Brooder. Let's throw them some buffs. As well as, it definitely paints the Alliance in a much lighter light, and the Horde definitely in a darker light, right? Like, the Horde are definitely the bad guys. They're just invaders trying to conquer, right? They're more of like this Viking-esque group that... But when you learn about what's going on in their world and why they come here, right, it paints them in a lighter light, the orcs themselves. But again, the Amani Forest Trolls, they had beef with the High Elves for years and years and years, thousands of years, way before all of this, right? And the Forest Trolls are pretty bad. Everything that I know about them, the more I learn about the lore in the years way before World of Warcraft, because someone like me, I never played the Warcraft games, and that's something that I probably will do in the future. I've said that I wanted to do that, and at some point I will. We'll play through all of the Warcraft games on the channel, and I'll record all that, of course. But it's really cool to learn the years before this game and what happened, and who really is the bad guys, who really are the good guys, who are the bad guys inside of the good guys' team, and you know what I mean? Like, figure out all the actual details of everything. It's pretty cool. Ironforge, baby. To me, this is one of the coolest capital cities in the game. We got some more siege engines that are running. And I believe that's Magni. That's a statue of Magni, the king of the dwarves. Such a sick statue, man. These giant gates. The city built under the mountain. Sticky Doodle. Throw him a buff.
Well met. Safe travels.
Alright, first things first, let's swing by the bank. It is dead in Ironforge. Let's swing by the bank, drop off all of these materials. I'll need to refine or smelt these, but that's okay. I'll keep a stack of 10 just to make some bandages with, but the rest of these can go in here for crafting purposes. Give that guy a buff. And give this guy a buff. He's level 52. He's almost at the end. Now we need to go talk to Senator Baron Redstone. This is a dungeon quest. I'm just going to go ahead and hide it now. And then this is a quest in the deep tram, the deep run tram, which we will definitely be riding. That's how we get to Stormwind. I don't have the money to learn sword training just yet, so I'm hopeful that we can get that cash, but swing by Grith, Thurden, get the flight path here.
The Wildhammer dwarves might have fast steeds, but can those airy peaked griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not.
They're just so cozy looking. Look at those griffins, bro. And then this is one of the coolest parts of Ironforge, the Great Forge. Obviously, this is where the blacksmiths hang out. We'll go ahead and smelt down all of this. We've got the Great Forge all around us. And then the Great Anvil right there. We still have about 30 minutes left tonight. I would like to do some fishing in Ironforge. There's a small lake that you can fish at that is pretty good for beginner fishermen. And I want to get our fishing skill up to a sufficient level. Level 60 on mining. I want to get our fishing up to a sufficient level before we head to the next zone, which will be Loch Madan. We already have some quests that we can take out here, and this is definitely where the game is going to be pushing us next. So I want to get our fishing up, because we can find floating wreckage and schools of fish out there that are going to be useful. But there's Magni. Just the Giga Chad that he is. 1,000,000 health. King Magni, Bronzebeard, Lord of Ironforge. Senator Baron Redstone. And I think we read Senier's report. Yes, we did. But did they add more to it? Just in case, I'm going to reread it, but I feel like we've already read this. A report on the state of the Frostmane trolls in the general area of Dunmoreau. The trolls situated in Dunmoreau are largely centralized in Frostmane Hold, a mountain cave on the western border. They have sufficient numbers to cause some concern. However, they seem more than content to stay in their cave. This is, no doubt, because they do not wish to incur the wrath of the dwarves again and risk total extermination. Their actions can be considered territorial, if anything. And it is my belief that they pose no real threat to us so long as we do not encroach upon their territory. This may be a situation unappealing to the dwarven populace, but given the dispersal of military resources, it may be prudent to relegate the extermination of the trolls to a lower level of importance, and continue to focus on the threat posed by the Trogs and the Dark Irons. Enclosed, you will also find a copy of my brother Graylin's report on Anvilmar, signed Senior Whitebeard. So, we did read Graylin's report, but we hadn't read Senior's report. Graylin's report was when we took on the trolls in Anvilmar, so I'm not going to read that part. It would seem that my guards are becoming less discriminatory with petitioners. Well, what do you want? Make it quick.
Authority of the king! Has Magni taken complete leave of his senses? And that damnable Whitebeard
They're throwing around that
taken
name
matters into
loose.
his own hands, has he? The Senate will not be pleased to hear about this, not one bit. What, are you still here? Go before I call the guards.
Right, sorry. Just give him a quick kneel. We're honored to be in his presence. So I still need 2 silver. Hopefully Deep Run Rat Roundup could give us 2 silver, but I don't think it's going to. Oh, I don't have anything that's really worth 2 silver. I'm going to move my racial to Control V because that's what it was for my undead. And I wasn't very good at hitting Control V, but if I ever need to, I'll probably just click this. Now this is the Forlorn Cavern. This is where there's a small little lake here that we can fish at, so I'm going to do that. Put our fishing ability on Alt 8 because that's what I like it on. Pretty comfortable with that. Wait. You used to be able to fish from this lake. Well, in future versions of WoW, I guess you can fish from this lake. In Classic, I guess you can't. But that really sucks, man. If I would have known that, I would have fished from the Iceflow Lake. Damn. Alright, well let's head to Stormwind for just a little bit. I want to go through the Deep Run Tram, finish this quest with Monty. Maybe there's some things that we can do in Stormwind that'll give us a quick silver or 2. But I doubt it. I mean, other than quests. Maybe there's some quests in Stormwind that could give me some cash. That's 17 copper right there. That's a dungeon quest. Wait, me brother Nipsey, 5 silver. That might give me what I need, hopefully. Who is this guy? Haggle. I've seen Monty before and Nipsey, but I've never seen Haggle. He's a leper gnome. He must have been one of the gnomes in Gnomeregan. Don't crab me, people.
Rats be me game. Avast you scallywag. Are ye looking for work? We got a serious rat problem down here and not enough hands on the poop deck. What do you say? All you needs to do is take this here rat-catching flute and play the melody around the vermin. They'll follow ye to the ends of the world. Just capture 5 of the little buggers and bring them back here. We needs them alive.
What was that sound, bro? Alright, so we just need to capture some rats that are running around. Pretty easy. Hopefully we can get this done before the tram arrives. Nope, it's already here. Maybe we can get it done before this side arrives. That's 5 right there. Bring him back to Monty. He should give us a cooking recipe. But he also wants us to take the tram and go talk to his brother. Hopefully this gives me the silver that it said it would, but...
Pleased to meet you. Off and away.
Yar. Swabby, what be taking you so long?
These'll work nicely, matey. Me brother needs 'em still ticking and kicking, else they go sour. You don't want to taste no sour rat kebab. Be seeing you.
Into the boxes, me pretties. That's it. One by one you go. Hurry up, Monty. The tram's gonna be here.
Need assistance? Me brother Nipsey
5
runs
silver,
a rat
yes.
kebab operation on the other side of Deep Run. You needs to take this here crate of rats to him before they go bad. Get a move on. You have ridden a tram before, aye? It's easy. Just step aboard when she arrives and enjoy the ride. And keep your arms and legs inside during the ride, lest you be
No!
peg-legged for life.
I waited too long. I tried to, like, let him finish his dialogue, but I should have left. Alright, well, we'll wait for this one. Now, you know what? Sit on the subway bench. I think we did we ride the tram on my undead rogue? I feel like maybe we did, but I could be wrong about that. One thing with Classic that I wish they did was I wish they would have made a dungeon in here. I've talked about that with some friends, but it would be so cool. We'll see it as we're riding through, but there's this area where you're underwater, and it would just be so cool if they made like something out of this. I've always been obsessed with this tram. It's one of the coolest places in Classic. Let's try and make it seem like we would be sitting on the ledge here. Some of the finest gnomish inventions and tinkering that we've ever seen. I guess they did something like this in Ulduar, where there was this kind of like train ride, so to speak. But this specifically, if they ever did like a Classic Plus, I would love if they did something with this. But like, look at this, bro. This underwater area, so sick. And like, as far as like how it would make sense of like where you're going from here to here that quickly, it doesn't make any sense. And there's also not really any water there, but I guess you're going underneath the ground, and maybe there's water underneath the like, I don't know. All right, we've made it. Now, Nipsey's a weird one.
You'll find no finer rat kebab this side of Cosmodan.
Nipsey puts his index finger through one of the air holes in the carton. Alive and kicking, and just in time.
Poor Monty. Ever since the Nomarigan incident, he hasn't been the same. That boy has never seen an ocean in his life, let alone being some kind of pirate. At least he keeps the flow of twitching critters coming.
So it's actually Monty that's the weird one. Nipsey's normal. Monty thinks he's a pirate, and he's not.
You'll find no finer rat kebab this side of Cosmodan.
Alright, so that gave us 5 silver, plus the kebabs I sold for 6 copper each. With the stack of 10, that's 60, so 60 copper. 5 silver, 60 copper, which is enough money to learn two-handed sword training, which is nice, which means I can use my sword, as well as I could learn Blessing of Protection now, but I'll probably pick up Devotion Aura over Blessing of Protection, honestly. I'll go visit the Paladins in, I believe it's Cathedral Square, too. But first, let's go get the two-handed weapon skill training. We'll talk to the Flight Path Master, and then we'll go talk to the Paladins. I'll learn the next rank of Devotion Aura, and then I'll probably do some fishing. And maybe we'll head back to Keranos afterwards and start venturing over here. We do have one elite quest in Keranos, protecting the herd. You have to kill the gash. I've done this before, but never on a paladin. There's a fence that you can use to kind of kite them around, but I don't really know how that's going to work on a melee class. I could, like, in my mind, I could get a few hits in on him, use my potion, dance around the fence, let my mana come back, heal myself up, get a few more hits on him, wait till I get low, dance around the fence, let the mana regen. Like, that's what I'm thinking, but it is dicey. I'm also going to need to level up my my sword weapon skill, though. Maces are at 45 out of 50, defense is at 46 out of 50. It shouldn't take too long to level up the sword skill, though.
Have you come
Ping.
seeking training in the ways of armed combat?
I have. Thank you, sir. Beautiful. This is a huge upgrade.
Best deals in all of Stormwind, my friend. Won't find any better. Now, what can I help you with?
We'll hold off on one-headed swords until later when we can afford it, of course. We'll have to come back, but for now, this is a good pickup. Dungar Long Drink.
Greetings. These great beasts know paths that you can't find on foot. They'll get you there fast and maybe show you something new at the same time.
So this is Stormwind. It's a, you know, it was never my favorite, but as I've gotten older, I've grown to love Stormwind. Just a classic good guy kingdom, right? Beautiful buildings, cool architecture. The streets feel familiar. We'll get a closer look at Stormwind over some other episodes, I'm sure, but for now I've got business and I just kind of want to stick to it. We'll come back and we'll fish off that dock right there, because that's usually where the fisherman trainer is over there. But I do want to go talk to the paladins in the cathedral. Now, fun fact about paladins and why I'm usually a stickler about playing a human paladin. Archbishop Alonus Fowl. Archbishop Alonus Fowl, benevolent patron of the church. That's this guy here. Benevolent patron of the Church of Light. Though he began his good work in Strathholm, Lordaeron, Archbishop Fowl was a great friend to the people of Stormwind. In the dark days after the Second War, he helped to reform the Brotherhood of Northshire and raised vast funds to rebuild Stormwind City itself. This cathedral stands not only as a bastion of the holy light, but as a last testament to one man's noble spirit and generosity. That's pretty cool. The more I'm learning about the Alliance, the more I actually really like them. This guy looks sick with his giant sword. So fun fact about the humans and paladins in the light. The light is like this alien life force that actually like approached the humans, that bestowed its teachings on the humans, and you learn a little bit more about that when we go into the Burning Crusade, and you learn about the aliens. It continues throughout some of the other expansions, but from what I know, the humans were the first to gain the ability of control over the light, and they taught that ability to the High Elves, to the Dwarves, and eventually the Draenei know it because obviously they come from Draenor, and that's where the alien species is kind of based out of, but the humans were the first, and that's why I always feel very weird playing like a dwarf paladin or even later like a blood elf paladin, because blood elves like twist the light to their control, but the humans are like the rightful, like chosen ones, so to speak. So the paladin trainers are in here. Lord Grayson Shadowbreaker. and Catherine the Pure.
What can I do? May the light protect you this day.
So I think we're going to pick up Devotion Aura. This is like 3 times the armor that rank 1 gives us, so that is definitely worth 3 silver. Now let's pop our fishing rod back on and go do a little bit of fishing. Thomas and Altar Boy. But yeah, I don't mind, like I've talked about before, on era servers, like non-hardcore era servers, I also have a bunch of characters, and my entire cast is the classes and races that like I would want them to be. Like I have a human paladin, I have a human rogue, I have a dwarf priest, right? So on hardcore, I like to, since I'm not raiding or doing dungeons and racials don't matter as much, I like to mix it up and live out different fantasies on hardcore. So this is where I would have like a dwarf paladin. On era itself, my paladin is a human, just because it makes sense, like for me. But it also, you know, it's one of their best combinations because of sword skill. But that's also why my rogue is a human, even though I'd like to be a night elf. So on hardcore, my alliance rogue is a night elf, right? I should have put a bauble on. Yeah, of course. Should have put a bauble on. Spend a little bit of time fishing. We'll try and get it to, let's say, maybe between 30 and 50, depending on how I'm feeling. Maybe I just go ahead and pause the video, but I wouldn't mind spending the last like 10-15 minutes of this session just doing some fishing. I also need to pick up the cooking recipes from these two that teach me how to cook all these. I should be able to cook these raw longjaw mud snappers, and that can also boost up my my cooking abilities. Fish got away. It's gonna fail the first handful of times, right? But let's move it to the 1 key for now. Oh, come on, man. Low-level fishing is just a nightmare. We've experienced this once before. You're going to fail a lot. You just got to build up the skill, and then once you get it to about like 10 with a bauble, you're good. Until you're fishing out of your league, then you might fail a little bit, but it's these initial first few hits are just annoying. Yeah, failed, see. The fish got away. No! I meant to click and yeah, I don't want to talk about it. That's a hit. Got away. Might not have been quick enough on that. Just looking at my emails. Alright, starting to build up a little bit of momentum. I think the next purchase we should make is definitely our last bag slot. I was hoping I could find maybe one more bag. We got lucky with finding one, so, you know. Saves us 5 silver, but... Ugh, come on, man. These fish are getting away. Maybe we even do a little bit of blacksmithing if I have a sufficient amount of time left. telling you, once we get to level 10, we shouldn't be failing anymore. We can really pick up the steam. But just like real life, you gotta have patience, right? Level 7. Let's get to like 15, maybe 25, 30. And then maybe if I have some time, I'll do some smithing with some of the iron or copper bars that we have. And then the last thing that I want to do is make sure we hearth and get back to Keranos. That way when we log in tomorrow, we'll be in Keranos, and our hearth will be off cooldown. We've picked up the flight paths, we have all of our profession training. We visited the human paladins of Stormwind. This will pay off though once we get to Loch Modan. Hopefully we find some floating wreckage. I love having my fishing ahead of the curve though in hardcore. 98% of the player base is not leveling up their fishing, and you come across a floating wreckage and they run right by it. But you stop and you fish it up and you might find a green ring that they would never get, or you know, I think we found a blue ring that we used all the way up to level 60 on my rogue. We found a lot of good gear on that rogue from fishing. A lot of good gear, and a lot of good gear that I wish I could have gave to other characters, but I had to just sell. But even then, that's more money towards our mount, towards our training. And I did check, we did break 300 gold on that rogue. That's where we left off in Orgrimmar at the bank. We had 302 gold. And that's after we got, you know, of course our mount, not our epic mount, but our mount. We bought all of our abilities, even the ones that we didn't need. We had fully stocked up potions and food. We had, you know, all of our bags, all of our bank slots were bought. You know, we were sitting really good on that rogue, and to have 300 gold at the end, I was a third of the way towards my epic mount. It's pretty good. Maybe we need to get to like 20 fishing skill before we stop failing so much, but we're at 12. We'll use a full bauble. How about that? I've got an even better idea. I'll get to 15 with you guys, and then I'm going to pause the video and get to like 25 or maybe even like 50 myself using a couple baubles. And then when we resume, I should have a little bit of time left to do some blacksmithing with the copper bars that we have, and then we should hit it just about an hour together. We'll go ahead and hearth, wrap it up in Keranos. Now, at some point, I do plan on coming back to Elwyn Forest, aka where Stormwind is, and knocking out all of these quests as well, just because I'm a bit of a completionist and a freak. So now would be the time to come here. Before we go to Loch Modan, we'll probably come here and knock out all of these quests, though. Some will be easy, some will be ridiculously easy, like these, because they're the starter quests, right? But we'll do that before we head into Loch Modan. So we'll finish up all of Dunmoreau, and then we'll come back to Stormwind, do all of Elwyn, knock out all of these quests, and then head back to Loch Modan, do Loch Modan, and then from Loch Modan we would come back to the This is... God, what is the name of the zone? Westfall, that's what it is. Oh, 17-pound catfish. This is a weapon. That's funny. It sells for 1 silver. I'll take it. Okay, 2 minutes left on this bauble. Like I said, we'll use this entire bauble together and then I'll pause the video. I want to get to like 50 fishing or so. That way when we head into Lochmadon... Well, I guess I won't even need to. I could fish in Elwyn. Yeah. Still getting some fails every now and then. Yeah, 20 is probably good.
Best deals in all of Stormwind, my friend. Won't find any better. Now, what can I help you with?
Welcome to Stormwind. Took a long time to rebuild her, but it was well worth it. So are you visiting, or are you here on business?
Just browsing my wares, or is there something specific I can help you find today? Best
Just
deals
browsing.
in all of Stormwind, my friend. Won't find any better. Now,
Catherine
what can I help you with?
Leland. Now, first things first, what we're going to make is rough weight stones. I'll get to the bank and then I'll pull up the guide. We'll probably run over a little bit on time doing this, but that's okay. So it says 1 to about 30. You should just make sharpening
No
stones.
one's ever stolen anything out of here. Not in the whole history of the whole history.
Go ahead and cook these raw, brilliant small fish. I can't cook long jaw mud snappers just yet, but there should be a fire in here, right? No. Oh man, there's so many corpses in here. Why have people died? That's a little sketchy. Damn. Full tier 3 on hardcore is kind of crazy. Surely there's a fire around here somewhere, right? Like, I know where to go if not. I know where the cooking trainers are or whatever, but I guess I need to go over that way anyways to actually craft with an anvil, but swing into Old Town. I know there's a fire in here. Now, a little note to self, next time we play, I need to remember I'm not going to have any two-handed sword weapon skill. I'm going to be missing a lot, so let's not go take on something crazy. Let's just, you know, do the right thing.
I sell only the best gear, tested and true. And the prices are set. So if you want to haggle, then go find a goblin.
Do I
Yes,
look
ma'am.
like I have the time or energy to coddle every tourist that wanders through my door? Tell me what you need and make it quick.
I sell only...
Sorry, Erica. Alright, that puts our cooking at 4. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's something. And basically from level 1 to level 65, we're just going to be using rough stone for crafting, so I should have kept all this stuff in the bank, honestly. Probably make a trip back to the bank and drop all that off. Really, we don't use copper until like level 90, unless there's something specific that I want. And like 51, these give me 35, 81, this is 97, right? Plus, I won't have much money for,
So you want to be a blacksmith, eh? Grab an apron and a hammer, lad. Let's see what you got.
You're not
I like
bad,
him.
but let me show you a few tricks you might find handy.
So obviously this is a lot more armor, but I would lose the 1 strength, 1 stamina from these pants. The mace, I guess I could learn that. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, it's good there. The axe, The mace I might actually learn. That way I have a one-handed weapon. But again, I'm waiting to use the sword. The boots, I might learn those. That's at 20. Okay. So we're gonna make 30 of these bad boys. Sharpening stones, you basically just apply them to your weapon. They last 30 minutes and they increase the damage that your weapon does. Pretty good. Like I said, we'll run over a little bit on our time tonight, but that's fine. Shouldn't be but another 5 minutes, I think. So 30 will give me a stack of 20 for the future and 10 that we can use pretty willy-nilly. The guide says use these to get to at least 30. And it's expecting you to use 40 rough stone. So far, every level has given us a skill increase. But that might start slowing down soon. Alright, we missed one right there. I think we missed another one right there. Alright, so we missed 3 in total.
You're not bad, but let me show you a few tricks you might find handy.
So we need to learn rough grinding stones. And then everything else is kind of like on our own accord. I think I'm going to pick up the copper chain boots. I'll make a single pair of these, even though it's 8 copper bars. It's just better than what I have. I need some new boots. Nice.
Don't let the humans in the bazaar fool you, lad, with the subway those gnomes built. It's easier than you might think to transport goods from Ironforge. If they try to tack on import fees, just tell them you're gonna buy your gear from me.
I like her. So now let's go ahead and use 5 of these bad boys, or make 5. Actually, make 4. That'll put us at 35. A nice clean number. Excuse me. Pretty much flat broke, though. All right. So that puts our professions at 60 for mining, 35 for blacksmithing, 4 for cooking, 1 for first aid, 20 for fishing. But we will go ahead and do some first aid as well. I'll make 20 of these when we get back to the bank. Sorry, shaky knees, I didn't see you waved at me. Actually, we'll probably make 19. That'll put our skill at 20 because we start out with 1 point, right? And then I'll sell 5 to give me a little bit of extra money to survive on. It should be like 1 silver piece or something like that. But then the only profession that we haven't really started on is, I mean, cooking could use some more help, but at least we got a few points in it. I actually like not having a lot of weapon skills and stuff like that, because on the rogue we had all of them. Eventually we'll get them all on this guy, but for right now it doesn't feel as daunting of like, okay, I'm falling behind, I need to get this up, this up, and this up. Alright, so we'll go 19 here, create all these. And like I said, we'll sell 5 of them. Should be 50 copper pieces for 5. Which will put me at roughly 1 silver piece. Yeah, that's enough to survive on next time. I got a little bit of food, a little bit of drink. As long as we're managing our mana well, we shouldn't need to drink, but it's nice to have a little bit just in case. I'd like to have more ale, but I'm a little too broke to be buying a lot of ale right now. I gotta make it last. I gotta have a beer here and there, right? This will probably, you know, I'm sober for the most part in real life, so this would be like the only character I really spend money on, like ale and stuff. But as a dwarf, I feel like it's just you have to, right? It's very fitting. In real life, I'll have a drink here and there. I might have a beer after a long day, or like, you know.
Best deals in all of Stormwind, my friend. Won't find any better. Now, what can I help you with?
If I'm going out with the boys or something, I might have a beer or something like that. But I don't really drink anymore. I did a lot of that when I was younger, and now I'm pretty much. I was straight edge when I was a teen. I grew up in the hardcore scene, and I grew up like straight edge. And then when I turned 18, I broke that for. I kind of fell out of the scene, and then I, of course, met a girl, and she got me into like smoking cigarettes and stuff, and then that obviously chained into drinking.
Welcome to the Bank of Stormwind. We offer financial accounts and safety deposit boxes.
I was young and I was dumb.
Do you already have an account with us, sir?
Don't do things for other people, especially other women, guys. Just like be yourself. But again, at 18, I was young, I was impressionable, I was dumb. But I'm not. I don't regret any of it. It definitely like made me who I am. But now I've circled all the way back around, and I'm, you know, pretty much completely clean and square. All right, let's hit our hearth. Jump into a bed.
Cooking is a lifelong pursuit, and I see we share the same passion.
How about this bed tonight? Alright, we didn't level up, but we did handle a lot of business that we needed to get done, so. Feeling pretty good for our next adventure. Alright guys, we're going to call this one here for now. I want to thank you for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Tomorrow afternoon, probably. And then, like I said, in the later evening and night, I've got some things going on. But then after I do those things and go to the gym, I'll probably do another session. On the Rogue, it took us 150 sessions to finish the game. That's like, if I'm only doing 1 a day, that's like half a year. I want to speed this up a little bit, so I'm trying to do 2 a day if I can, if I have the time. 2 hours is a lot of time, though, as well as if I'm working on other things, or if I have work, or, you know, trying to read, or journal, or go to the gym, like hang out with friends. It takes time, right? So either way, that's my prerogative to figure out. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love, and God bless gamers.